welcome back to Cross Stitch the Globe. My name is Stephanie and this is a channel about cross stitch, and today's floss tube is number 49, which is crazy. And it's going to be a solo floss tube today. Allison can only film right now about once a month, and I'm actually at our other sister's house in Kansas City. I came up for the weekend, and this is where I did Midsummer Stitch from. So I could get some help with the kids, watching the kids at night, and some of you guys got to experience them a little bit at Midsummer Stitch, and so we're forever grateful to my sister Valerie that she watched them. But anyway, I'm from live from Kansas City, not live. I am filming in Kansas City, and the reason I wanted to go ahead and film today, other than the fact that it's my normal filming day, is that Allison has an FFO that she gifted Valerie that lives here, and I shared it on Instagram, and enough of you guys were like excited about it that I thought it would be fun to show it. I asked her if she would be in the video with me, and she said absolutely not. A few of you guys at Midsummer Stitch asked me if she said she'd be in the video, and she did not want to be in the video, even for like 3 minutes to talk about the piece. But she did kind of flit through the background chasing after my kids during Midsummer Stitch, so some of you guys got to meet her. So I only have an hour to record because she took the kids on an errand that they did not want to go on. She's an angel. And so my kids are her favorite people, but you know, it can be a lot. 2 and 5 can be a lot. So she took them on an errand, and so we're gonna skip some of the stuff I normally do because I just want to make sure I cover everything before they get home. So let's dive in. I'm gonna talk about Midsummer Stitch kind of towards the end, near like haul. But some of it will just kind of be peppered throughout. And then I will show Allison's piece in FFO. Alright, so let's start with today with mentions. I didn't get a chance because I'm on vacation kind of to check all the mentions, but I did have 2 that I saw before I left. The first one is Wendy, who is the Matrix Stitcher, and I think her YouTube channel is technically a Stitch in the Matrix. I will tag her below. She shared a lot of eBay purchases. And she said that our eBay tips video helped her save, I think she said $8. So I will link that video below as well. And Wendy bought some really cool stuff. You should go check it out. And then Amanda May from Art of Designs is starting to talk about her state fair this year. And she was thanking us for talking about her state fair videos, which we love. And I will link to her channel below too. But she said some really kind, like, stuff about our channel that was definitely like above and beyond, so I want to say thank you to her. She's amazing. But if you are considering entering any state fair or county fair, I would check out her videos just because she has been doing it for long enough that she's got some really good perspective. So everyone's fair is different, everyone's experience is different, but I really enjoy using her videos to help me get excited and prepped, and inspired us to even start entering fairs in the first place. So thank you so much, Amanda May. And and then we like to congratulate people who are celebrating milestones in the community. Stitchy Me is celebrating 4 years on FlossTube, which is amazing. Congratulations. Sarah's Stitchy Spot is celebrating 3 years on FlossTube, which I know we've congratulated her before, and I think every time I see that number, I'm floored that it's not like much longer, considering like how integral her videos are to my weekly watching. And then Wendy, the Matrix Stitcher, who I already talked about, is celebrating 1 year on FlossTube, so congratulations. And then 2 Stall Stitchers hit 6,000 subscribers, so that's amazing. Their channel is wonderful, especially if you like stitching and you also like quilting. You should be subscribed to them, so you should definitely go check them out if you are also a quilter. They're always showing new quilts in their background. They talk about quilting, not at an equal level as cross stitch, but they talk about quilting a lot, and they're wonderful. And then Kim, whose channel is Contented Needlework. Kim had a birthday, and what I will say is I really like her channel in spite of her perforated paper propaganda. And this episode, her most recent one, was quite heavily pro perforated paper, so if you are sensitive to that, trigger warning. But other than that, she's absolutely wonderful. And then Romy from Romy's Creation is having a birthday, is a designer, had a birthday, and is having an amazing birthday sale on Etsy where until the end of July you can get, go check out her Instagram. Until the end of July, you can get a $30 coupon on patterns from their Etsy shop. And so you can't just like check out at $30, but if your total, I think, hits 31 or 32, then you can take out $30. And she said you can use it over and over again. So if there's any Romy's Creations patterns you've had your eye on, go check her out. And then I'm realizing I missed one. Handmade by Sarah W. hit 5,000 subscribers, which is amazing. And if you haven't seen Handmade by Sarah W.'s Whip Parade, go check her out. And then also, I was surprised at the Jingle Ball. There were like a few different times people were talking about how like they wish they saw more Ada in Flosstube. And Handmade by Sarah W. stitches the fanciest things solely on Ada, usually a 16 or an 18 count. I think she prefers 18 count. So if you are primarily an Ada stitcher, and one of the reasons you like our channel is that Allison stitches on Ada so much, and you like beautiful samplers and cute smalls and Liz Mathews and Hands Across the Sea, then you should be subscribed to Handmade by Sarah W, so go check her out. Alright, let's dive in. Fully finished object. So this is not mine. This is not mine. This is Allison's, and she finished it, Valerie said, in either 2020 or 2021. I moved back to the US at the end of 2020 after living in Europe, so I think it must have been before I moved back, so I think it must have been at least 2020. But Allison stitched this for our sister Valerie. Our sister Valerie's a lawyer, and this is Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and she is a hero of our sisters. Just being in her apartment, I've seen multiple, I just realized the sounds in the apartment might be a little noisy, and I forgot my microphone. I apologize. I'll do what I can in post to get the air conditioner sounds out. We'll see what I can do. But being in Valerie's apartment, I see multiple Ruth Bader Ginsburg figurines and refrigerator magnets. And so if you're looking for a personalized gift for her, you really couldn't go wrong with spending 5,000 hours stitching Ruth Bader Ginsburg face. This is not a pattern, so I can't tell you like to go get it. There might be a pattern of this artwork out there, but I don't know. This is from when Allison was only stitching things where she would take a picture and turn it into a cross stitch pattern and then stitch it full coverage. Valerie's cats are here. This is full coverage, so Allison, I don't think at the time even knew that there were fabrics that you could get that were that color. But also you can see it fades to black in the corners and it gets redder towards her face. So it is full coverage. It's got to be 8 by 10. So, and I believe it's on 14 count Ada because Allison really wasn't stitching on anything else until Flosstube, I don't believe, but you can look at the incredible details that she gets. And I can't imagine how monotonous all of that black and white must have been to stitch, especially in her face. And then combine that with her background. This is from a different era of Allison stitching when she mostly did projects like this to give to, like, she would pick giant projects and give them to people. And then Allison also had this professionally framed. And I don't think Framebridge, I love this frame. I don't know if Framebridge still exists. I feel like that was a company that was bigger in the 2010s. So I don't know if this frame is available, but it is beautiful. And I think with the crown and everything, it's amazing. So because this FFO lives in a, in the hallway here in Kansas City and will never be in Oklahoma, and Allison and I will never film together here. I just wanted you guys to get to see it. Because Allison, it's amazing. And Allison, it's also a testament to how generous she is because most of the things she stitched were things that other people were interested in before she started Flosstube. There's not many things. I think there's only... So in our house, there's a couple things that she stitched for her, but they were still like her and her husband, like their wedding bouquet and stuff. There are very few pieces that she had ever stitched that were things she liked. So anyway, she's just a wonderful person. They're both wonderful people. and great sisters, and I wanted to show that off for her. So, okay. That is FFO's, not mine, but a really cool one I wanted you guys to see. Finishes. I don't have any finishes. So let's get into new starts. I had 3 new starts. 2 were planned. 1 was not planned. So the first one is Seaside. This is what I started for my birthday, Sal. Hello, it's my birthday. Where you can stitch any Liz Mathews. Valerie's iron has rust on it. I didn't bring my iron, so I steamed these a tiny bit, but they're not iron. So in the camera in the camera screen, it looks very wrinkly. I don't know how, I don't know how wrinkly it's going to look in, but anyway, I did 250 stitches I did the top border that goes all the way across of the water section. So I started on the water side just because I've been going back and forth about what fabric I want to do for the top, but I have 4 cuts of this size of blue fabric to do, so that I can do all of the, what am I saying? I have enough cuts of this fabric that I can do all 4 of the houses in the series. 3 are released, 1 is not released yet, but all 4 of the houses, if they have blue, I have enough set aside to do them all the same blue. But I think the other sides I might make them different, because I don't really think that the fabrics that are picked for them are different too, but also I think I have different visions for them. Anyway, I did 250 stitches. I just did the top border. And this is Winter Sky, 32 count Winter Sky by Lakeside Linen. And I just used this one color because since I've been in the process of creating a master set, I had this problem where everything I started this month, I didn't want to go find all the DMC and put it in the bag, but all the DMC also weren't accessible. So I have those rings. And if you saw the video on Thursday about de-kitting some of my projects, then you know what I'm talking about. But if you didn't, I'm in the process of taking all the floss out of kits and making a master set. And some of the stuff that got pulled out of bags were already on floss drop. So I have put those on a master floss drop set ring to use up, because my real master set is going to be on bobbins. And I did decide, we were talking last night at Midsummer Stitch and about how do you actually use a master set? And Helen D reminded me that Marissa, who is MKissa Creations, has the two-sided bobbin set, box, and that is so great because you can take it in. And considering I need to have my master set by my chair, but also I want to be able to put it up when my kids are covered in chocolate, I realized that's actually a perfect solution for myself. So if I get to the point where all my bobbins are bobbinated, then I'm going to allow myself to get that box as a little treat. So that's the goal, but right now things are in stages. And so the only color I had available on my new starts were not always colors that made sense, or this one, I had this color available, but I didn't have any other color. So I stitched this, and I know you can't really see it because it kind of goes on the fabric, but I kind of like that. The real blue is a little darker than this. I like how my ocean is going to be a little more subtle because the reds will pop on this. But anyway, so the only color that I could get to was this color, and the next color I could get to didn't make sense. I couldn't get to another color that was a bit, oh no. This is a different shade of gray that's right here in this fishtail, but that's all I could do in the night to stop. But when I did go and do the next round of bobbin organizing, I know I have colors for all of my new starts that I can continue to. So when I get home, I do have now some of the reds available so I can start on some of the fish. And Rosanna from Bright and Dusty is working on this, and hers is looking so good. You should check hers out too. I will link her channel below. If you are wanting to join my birthday sale, the hashtag is hello, it's my birthday, but tag me because I'm not going to, the hashtags don't work anymore, but it's just fun. And that helps me know too, why you tagged me. And So you can tag me, and it goes through the end of July, and it's just any hello from Liz Mathews piece. And a lot of people started some of the beautiful freebies on her website. I think Allison also started a beautiful freebie. She sent me some of her color choices. And oh no, she did start it because she sent me like, she started the free heart on her website, and she sent me like one of the little sections done. So feel, you know, I would love it if you join me. And I saw some really cool stuff, and it can be a whip too, like if you already have one out. Okay. Blackwater Hollow. This is my unplanned start. Okay. So this is Blackwater Hollow by Stacy Nash. Goes this way. Okay. So I was watching, I think I mentioned last time, maybe. I was watching Needle and Flax, Rachel from Needle and Flax. And, oh, I mentioned a different thing about that video. That video was really good. Rachel is the dyer for Needle and Flax, but she also is a prolific and good stitcher and great stitcher. And she has like very long knowledge about cross stitch like for years and years. And then she also is friends with people who I also like their channels, so it's fun to see, you know, how they're bouncing back and forth off each other. So she had she sent in her video that she had this pattern kitted up, and I had never seen it before. And it's Stacy Nash, but it's like 2011 or 2013. And then I realized somebody else that I like, these videos I watched had stitched it this year. I just had missed it because there was a couple months in the beginning of the year where between like seasonal depression, like regular life depression, and just like being busy, I missed like a couple months of Flosstube interactions and stuff. So Jordan the Tattoo Stitcher also had stitched this year, or maybe just finished it this year, but I had missed that because I found it on Instagram when I was looking for fabric inspiration. But anyway, I saw it on a Rachel channel. I instantly bought it. And then I was reading it, and it was called for on like a gray, but the gray was called for to do walnut crystals over it to kind of like muck it up a little bit. And I thought, well, that would look really good on Ancient, and I have a cut of Ancient. But then I realized I really kind of wanted to do it in a higher count, and they didn't have any like higher count Ancient. So I went ahead and got Bouquet, which I think is also looking really good. So I only did 125 stitches. So this is 1/2 136 count with, this pattern only has 6 called for overdye, and I already had 3 of them. So it's the called for overdyes, but I still have to get a few more. So I can't go I can't go everywhere in this pattern either yet until I get the rest of them, but I'm going to do that slowly because I'm not going to do this like very fast. But anyway, I just really wanted to. And then yesterday, so I started it the night before Midsummer Stitch because since I was coming to Kansas City, I really wanted a Midsummer Stitch start, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to kit up any of the like exclusives or the freebie or anything because I wasn't going to drag. I thought about it, but I decided not to drag my entire fabric and like available DMCs up here. And so I was like, well, if I start this, that'll kind of scratch that itch. And I had another one that I wanted to start on the same fabric, but I ended up not being able to, so I'll save that for October because it's also like a darker, you know, if the pattern looks good on murky, it's probably a little bit spookier or more somber. Not everybody does that, but anyway, that was my thing. So I have another one I'm going to start later. So there's a cat, a cute little black cat that's right up here, and I started it 3 times, and every time I made a mistake. And so I just realized that like I just wasn't Vary's apartment. The lights had to be really low so that the kids would calm down and watch movies and hang out with her and not be like constantly trying to get on screen on my computer. So they got in a little bit. So I kept messing up, and I just realized my eyes were not seeing this good enough, and I needed to wait and go back home before I tried to do black stitching in this section. But I can see 36 count really well. It's funny. It's like 36 is fine, and then 40 is like not doable. So, but the black on the dark spots in low light was not working. So I did as much as I could. I worked on this mostly. So I started the night before Midsummer Stitch, and then I worked on it during the Unfinished Stitches live stream. And then I also found that like when I was watching a live stream, it was easy to work on, but when I was chatting, I kept messing up. So I just stopped working on it. But I love it. I think it's so cute. And I've seen Murky before, but I've never stitched on it myself. I really like it. And I have like 4 patterns planned to use all up the entire cut of the, because I'm going to restart Witchy Stitcher Ghost Stories on it. I want to start Tombstone Angel, which was the other thing I brought kitted up because I already had all the flosses for it. So when I got this cut of fabric and I could chop it up into little bits, so I was like, I'm ready to start Tombstone Angel by the Primitive Needle. So that's 3. I don't remember what the 4th was, but there was one. So anyway, I'm gonna use up every bit of this fabric. So right now it's living in this Pretty Southern camping bag. I don't know if it'll stay in this. It's very fall theme, but it's not like, I don't know. It's fine. It's fine for now. I love this bag, and it had one of my models in it, which meant it was never being shown because I don't show you guys my models in between. So you guys haven't seen it, but I've had it for a couple of years and I really like it. I love the flannel on the inside. I feel like it makes it so cozy. And it's like camping, like fall camping fabric. It's wonderful. Alright, all the stores I will link to below. Alright, so that was my second start. And then my third start is a sad start because I also didn't have any fabric. Not fabric. I didn't have any floss that I could jump to. And I started making mistakes when I was stitching late at night, and I was just like ready to put it down until I had more floss available. This is Dino's Garden by Buena Pieza that I started for my son on his half birthday. I do want to try to finish it by his birthday. It's on Pink Chocolate by Bestitch Me. This is a 32 count. I'm doing it 2/2. And I just got this little pteranodon started because it was, well, my son told me it's a pterodactyl. Because I wanted to get stitches in on his half birthday, but I started getting really sloppy and I was like, I gotta go to bed. So I like this fabric for it, but I might go ahead and try to pull as many of the flosses as I can and see. I feel like they're all kind of gonna pop off this, but I don't know. Before I get too much further in it, I want to see. I like this fabric. I never destashed it because I always thought I would want to use it for something, but I've also had a hard time ever using it, so I don't know. I bought a few cuts of Pink Chocolate. I think I bought this 32 and a 40. I think I destashed the 40, but I kept the 32 because I really liked it and I did want to eventually use it. In person, it really pops. I just don't know if it's ghosting in the camera. I think it'll work. Okay, so that has been living in this yellow submarine bag that Kat from Whittier Stitches made me. But any project that I brought up here just to film for Flosstube that I didn't work on during Midsummer Stitch is also just in this bag because I just threw them in so I wouldn't have to carry extra, or not carry, but put extra bags in my tote bag. And I forgot to say this Hello from Liz Mathews is also going in here because it has its own sea themed bag, but I brought 4 projects, 2 kitted new starts to actually work on during Midsummer Stitch. And I think I worked on 2 projects and 1 new start, but I still needed the options. And then, 3, I worked on 3 projects. Yeah. I brought 5 projects. I brought a lot. So I just wanted to cut down on project bags. Okay, and then, so those are my new starts. Whips. Okay. Black and Sky. So last week I told you guys my Tale of Woe where the top boxes were too big. And so I'm having to rip out all these borders. So I did the top. So I finished this top box. So there was, this angel was in last time, but I did all of the stitching in this box, and then I moved the border up, and then I moved this border up here to match and stitch this top next box's borders. So now I just have this border, and these diamonds to fix. So it was nice. It was nice to feel like, okay, I'm not going to have to, like, I'm glad I moved the borders. When I do it a little bit at a time, it's a lot less painful. Moving it after I had one block complete was better. And then at Midsummer Stitch, I finished ripping out this border and stitching up this border and putting in this green border here. And then this morning I started on the stitching in the second block. I just started on the tree. So this is by the Primitive Needle. I'm stitching this on 32 count vintage pear by Lakeside Linen. It is the call for color. It is not the call for count. The call for count is 40 count. And I am stitching it with a color and cotton conversion. And okay, so I bought 6 skeins of this black color, but I bought 4 skeins of featherweight, which I'm using as the black, and I have already fully gone through 2 skeins. Now it's a little bit deceiving because I did have to redo a little bit of the black borders, but yeah, I'm stitching a lot of black. And then the other color that you use a lot of is the green, and I can start to feel my first skein of the green going down. I have 2 more skeins, so I feel like I'm really getting into this project. In order to meet my goal to be able to enter it in the state fair, I need to stitch 400 stitches a day on it for the next like 30 days, which I think I can do. I really like it. The blocks go really, all the blocks, but this one have a lot of words and letters and stuff and go really fast. I do think this block, which is like it's a big picture. It's not full coverage, but it's dense. I think that block will go the slowest. And so I'm glad I'm going to knock it out next. And then if I want to bounce around, I can bounce around, but, and now technically the middle boxes are the one that are 10 too high or 11 too high. And that might not look as bad as when it was the top box. But I still think I want to go ahead and do it right. And I do need to find, if I'm going to try to have it done in like 35 days, I need to find a, thrifted frame for it that I know will fit. Okay, so that lives in my Golden Familiars Stitch and Go case. And I'm stitching that and Annie Hyssop with this 7-inch princess hoop. I didn't mention it, but I showed you guys the hoop from Blackwater Hollow. Was a like 6-inch princess hoop. And then I don't have it, so I don't know. I don't remember. Okay, next whip is Annie Hyssop's Harvest Moon. Oh, I got about 1,900 stitches on Black and Skie since in the last week. But also that included like having to spend like, you know, hours frogging. So I feel like that's pretty good. This next piece is Annie Hyssop's Harvest Moon. Oh, it's actually not the next one by like stitch count, but I'll just go ahead and show it to you. I did 440 stitches in it since you saw it last. I brought it to Midsummer Stitch and I just worked on this top border until I really couldn't work on it anymore because I forgot that I thought I had all I needed to do the yellow and the black, but I didn't have one of the things I need to do the black because I'm doing it as like an alternating blend. So I did as much of the black as I could and then did as much of the yellow as I could. I mean, I could have done one more strand, I guess. So I did have to stop, but it was fun to get this out because I hadn't gotten it out in a while. And I really want to enter this in the fair this year, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think with all the extra Black and Skie work, I need to look at the numbers and see like, okay, if I'm doing 400 stitches a day on Black and Skie, what else can I realistically finish? So I put my time into that. But I love it so much and I already have a frame for it. So if I can make it work, then that's what I would want to do. And that also lives in my Stitch and Go case. feel like I'm talking super fast because I know my kids are like out there like going to come back home, and I just feel like, I don't know, also like filming in a new place. So if I sound really fast, I apologize. All right, my next whip. This one I actually did 500 stitches on. This is Twilight Moon by Tiny Modernist. This is part of the Night Garden palette series. So this is stitched with the Threadworks floss pack for it. I love this so much. During Midsummer Stitch yesterday, when I had low light, this was so easy to stitch on, and I was just filling in the places of the moon where there was all the interior stuff had already been done. And I stopped when I got down here because I was starting to have to like count around spaces of stuff I hadn't done yet. Plus, it was like, I told myself I was going to get off Midsummer Stitch at 11 p.m. last night because like the event, I think you could technically stay on. That's when the event technically ended. And I knew I needed like 30 minutes to like wind down and prepare and stuff. And my kids were up at 7, 6:15. We're up crazy early today. And I couldn't sleep last night. I was like not feeling good. So I did stop, but I could have kept going because it was really easy. It's so pretty. The floss pack is so pretty. Here's the floss pack. I mean, I don't have it organized. I am going to get it organized like this week, but it's so, I mean, it's so pretty. And I want more of the Night Garden patterns, but I'm going to wait until I at least get, like the 2 that I have done, and then I can, or at least, well, okay, so I have this one and I have the Romy's Creation one, which her Night Garden palette PDF is not available in her Etsy store, so I have a paper copy of it, but that wouldn't be something you could buy in her birthday. Their birthday stuff, there were some really cute patterns, but anyway, so I have those 2. When I'm done with all of that, then I can start to think about getting more of them, but I just love them. My hope is that since I have the palette and theirs are PDFs, that like the designers won't stop selling them if it's like I don't get to any more of them for a few years, but that's a risk, I guess. Okay, so that lives in this Lucy Beam project bag. It was a gift from a friend. And I have one last whip. So this is my Paula Vaughan long piece. I was also in a situation where I didn't have any more DMC that I could really go to, and I didn't want to just stitch the white. So when I got my DMC a little bit better organized, then I had the ability to fill in the, oh, sorry, I'm stitching any Hyssop on 32 count vintage porcelain from Lakeside Linen. Twilight Moon is on 32 count. Blue gray or something like that from Zweigart. It's the called for. This is 32 count cream from Zweigart. This is the called for. This is Victorian Bouquet by Paula Vaughan, which I'm doing for the Paula Vaughan Along Sal that is hosted by me and Jen's Fiberweb. And I was really happy to get this back out because I was annoyed with myself that I didn't want to stitch any more white on white and felt like really stuck. And as I was getting more DMC available in my boxes correctly, then I had more options. So this gray is a blend, and then I had this green, and I just stopped because I ran out of stitching time that day. So I did almost 200 stitches on this, but I ran out of stitching time that day. My goal is to get it to 1,000 stitches by the end of July, and then I probably won't pick it up again for a while, although I do really like it, and it's so fiddly. I feel like it could be one of those pieces that's really good for like a 1 strand a day situation because you just get the 1 strand. And once my master set is done, 1 strand a day on something like this where every day you pick out a new color, that wouldn't feel annoying because it would be the same amount of work no matter what you're doing. But this is a blend, a green, 5 shades of yellow, and a white in that little space. And I do think it gives it some dimension, and when it's more filled out, it'll be easier. There's also like a lot of pretty purples and pinks right around where I'm stitching that I didn't have access to. So I want to get to, once those are in my master set, that will be really fun. And this is living, oh, I just brought it up here since I did all the stitching in it at home. And I was not going to stitch on my Paula Vaughan during the sale or during the Midsummer Stitch with my kids running around and my sister babysitting me. That was not going to work. Okay, so that is what I stitched in the last week. Considering I also planned a trip, packed for a trip, came up here. There were a couple other crazy things that happened last week. And I feel pretty good about the amount of stitching that I got done, but I would like to be closer to the 500 stitches a day mark. And I think so. I think I was a little under that. Plans stitching wise is stitch black and sky 400 stitches a day. And then I can put 100 stitches into something else. I need to do my Paula Vaughan along. And I want to see if that 100 stitches a day could get me close enough that stitching extra on any Hyssop would get it done by the fair, or if I need to pick something that's closer to being finished. I also have, oh, it's over there, my Witch's Cabinet, which is so close to being done, and I still don't want to do it. But I have to work on it. So that's stitching wise. I'm also in Kansas City. I'm 30 minutes away from Quilter Station, which is a quilting store that does have cross stitch stuff and is known for their cross stitch stuff and has had, I don't know if they currently have, but had retreats in the past and things. So I'm gonna go. They're open tomorrow from 9:30 to 5:30. So I got a nice window because tomorrow's our last day in town. But I have to take my kids because my sister will be back at work. So I just want to see it. And then if it's wonderful, the next time I come up to Kansas City, because I come up here, you know, enough. Next time I come up to Kansas City, I might schedule time to go up there by myself when Barry has the kids, because all of her like concentrating babysitting time was while I was at Midsummer Stitch, and I couldn't really ask today like for more. And then she's doing this for me, so I couldn't ask for more than that. So we'll see how much I can do with them until tomorrow. But next time, if it's like as wonderful as I've heard it is, the next time I can always go back. All right, Flosstube University. Sometimes we do tutorials and lessons on Flosstube University, but it's also, you know, the art of learning how to cross stitch on Flosstube, and I like to share things we've learned. Laura from Stitching by the Shore does she comes from the world of paper crafting, and she has a scrapbook or a series of scrapbooks where she finishes some of her pieces in scrapbooks because she's such a prolific stitcher. It would be I think she's like, it would just be overwhelming and burdensome for my family to have to deal with all of these framed projects. But if they're in a scrapbook, that it's easy for them to keep them all. And then also she pulls them out. She'll have them displayed behind her. She can pull them out seasonally when she does want them displayed. So she put out a video on starting a scrapbook. So I will link that below. All right, so all we have left is Stitchy Kindness haul, and I will talk a little bit more about Midsummer Stitch in the haul section, though I've mostly talked about it already. But I did receive, and I hope I'm not forgetting something, because packing up here, like I'm used to doing my Flosstube at Allison, so I have just a place where I put everything to film, so that was relatively easy. But just like, I hope I'm not forgetting anything under Stitchy Kindness. But Rebecca sent this beautiful, okay, so she reached out to me and she said she had some 32 count linen. Did I want it? And told me what it was, and I was like, yeah, I want it. And she said some of it's 30 count, but she said some of it would be really fun for like dyeing, but also it's just like good fabric. So she sent it with this really sweet card, and it had this like very sweet note, which obviously I won't read because that's personal, but the card has the Elizabeth Bates Border Sampler 1801 from the Fitzwilliam Museum at the University of Cambridge. So how amazing is that? It's so cool. I'm definitely going to go in the pile for like one day creating Fred Keeps from cards. And she told me about the linen. What she did not tell me about was she sent this, I think this is 4-inch 4-inch princess hoop, so will get put to good use in my home, that is for sure. And I almost thought about using it over Midsummer Stitch, but I was like, no, I'll keep it in Stitchy Kindness. I don't want to use it. So thank you so much, everyone. Anyone who watches my channel knows I am obsessed with vintage hoops. And if you don't know anything about vintage hoops, you're like, what is that? Allison and I have a vintage hoop parade that I will link to below, where I showed all the hoops that I had. I am going to start to destash some of my metal hoops because it feels like hoarding to hold on to all of them when I've already shown them all in videos and don't pull them to stitch with very much. I have a few metal hoops that are like prized gifts from friends, but other than that, I think I'm going to start destashing some of those. So if you're interested in vintage hoops, I may have some metal ones to destash because I'm partial to the wood ones. All right, so there's that, and then here is the linen. So I think she told me what they were, but it was like 32 count antique white, 32 count, I think blue ice from Zweigart, and then a Victorian, I can't find my phone. It's somewhere here. It's right over there. Okay. I'm not going to go get it. Anyway, it's like a 30 count, and it had been cut to do a project. So it's a fat half of this 30 count, but it's not, I think she said it's not one. Oh, no. Or maybe, anyway, I will obviously treat it like it's not a fat half until I measure it in terms of like starting something on it. But it's like this beautiful ivory color, and she said it would be great to dye, and I agree. Like, you could over dye, even just over dyeing that with some taupe, be really pretty. But also, you know, this is very similar to like Zweigart's platinum. Like, there's a lot of patterns that look really good on this. Oh yeah, okay, so she had cut it that just aside for a particular project, but she sent the whole fat half. So there's this too, which would also be a great piece to dye. So that is so exciting. I got it. I looked through it, but I didn't get the fabric out to touch it. So, because I didn't want it to be all messy when I packed it up. So I haven't actually looked at these pieces yet. They're so pretty. And then I think this is Blue Ice by Zweigart. It's definitely a I mean, it's definitely, I think she said it was definitely Zweigart, but do a lot on that. That's a color that I use for like a lot of Christmas stuff too, but that would also be fun to dye. And then I think some antique white that had been used for some projects. So I love antique white, and also it's a great fabric to play with dyeing. And then, was this another antique white? She's listed 3 things, but then she sent 5 cuts because they're cut up in different pieces. So this must be a different cut of antique. Ooh, that's a whole fat quarter of antique white. There's a lot of really good stuff that would go on a fat quarter of antique white if both dyed and not dyed. So I will use all of this. I'm so excited about it. So thank you so much, Rebecca. Rebecca also let me know, if you watched the video where I went to the $5 bag sale and I brought back a bunch of like wool and felt applique books that I was like, these look expensive, they look nice, they look like the kinds of designs cross stitchers like, very prim. So I think they have value, but I'm not 100%. She let me know they really did. And I think I sold about half of those. So a bunch of those went from like a warehouse at a craft thrift store to being treasured by people who will actually make those projects. So Rebecca, thank you so much. This was such a delight to wake up to, and we'll just be, I mean, that's so much linen, and I do have a nice red dye collection. So many different projects are going to come out of that. So thank you so much. Haul. Okay. At Midsummer Stitch, I told you guys I really like the Bestitch Me fabric. I was good. I put some in my cart just like to tease myself, knowing I wasn't going to buy it, and then took it out of my cart. And then Stephanie said it was sold out in 40 minutes. Because I also went right when it opened, but then went back. Then I didn't check out, and I was like, you know what, everything that I want is a PDF. I'm going to wait until the end. So last night I only bought 2 patterns. I think at some point I was like debating getting all the exclusives, but I was like, you know what, the 2 that I really am going to stitch, I got the Tiny Modernist, which is so pretty and is on such a beautiful green fabric. And one of these could be that green one day. And then I got, and actually the Jet X Stitch, I already have all this stuff, but I wanted to go ahead and get those because both of those are designers who I know how expensive their patterns are. So their exclusives were about what they would probably normally charge. Lindy Stitches does keep the stuff exclusive for a year, which is like way longer than some places the stuff is exclusive for, and I really liked both of those designs. I am probably sad that I didn't get the Lindy Stitches Wolf choir practice. That was really cool. But so that may be a future purchase, but yeah, so I got those 2 patterns. I'm not planning to start them like in the next, well, I was thinking maybe to go ahead and start the Jet X Stitch pattern because so many people started it that I feel like I'm going to get sick of it if I don't go ahead and get it started and have it as a whip, because sometimes, you know, you see a pattern being stitched by like 100 people and you just like don't want to do it anymore because you feel like you've almost stitched it because you've seen it so much. And there are some Jet X Stitch patterns that I really liked when they first came out. I still really like them, but I don't feel the need to stitch them because they just are everywhere. And I don't really want that to happen with this one. Now, you had to be there to get it, so it's not gonna, there's not gonna be more people continuing to purchase it, but it is one of those things where I think maybe I do want to go ahead and just like get it started, dye something to get it started, just to not end up putting it off. Because how many Jet X whips do I have? 2, and I love both of them. And I don't stitch on them very much, but this was a very different style than the other 2 as well, because I have the Witch's Road and I have the Frog, the Scorpion and the Frog. And the Scorpion and the Frog is like a very southwestern vibe and palette, and the Witch's Road is like a, you know, pop culture pattern. So this is kind of different than that. But anyway, that was what I got at the Jingle Ball. There were so many other cute things I did not get. I'm living vicariously through. I kept asking people like, what'd you buy? So what'd you buy? What'd you buy? Because it was just fun to hear what other people had bought in a time when like I wasn't buying things. Like one of my friends bought every exclusive. That was fun to hear about. One of my friends bought Bestitch Me fabric because she'd never tried Bestitch Me fabric before. That was fun. Like it was fun. So, I actually got through all the stuff I need to get through. I have like a little bit of camera battery left and I don't hear the kids in the stairwell. So I'll talk about Midsummer Stitch for a couple minutes. It was really fun. Because my childcare situation changed, I ended up having like good concentrated time at night from like 6 or 7 to like the end of the day. And that was really fun. Instead of being around in the afternoon. I popped on a little bit in the morning and afternoon, but not tons. I went and saw Unfinished Stitches live Flosstube. That was really, I love them. That was really fun. And I asked a question and they answered it. So that meant like seeing it live really was worth it as opposed to waiting to see it later, because while I was watching them, it was a time when I couldn't have been, you know, I had the live streams on when I was watching my kids and I couldn't have been doing the stitching tables anyway. They were wonderful. And I also saw both of Stephanie's like morning talks, and then I watched somebody else's. Oh, Tiny Modernist. And then I got out Twilight Moon to stitch on while I was watching Tiny Modernist, and then I just kept it out. And I saw it last year. It was a lot of the same information, but I just like hearing her talk. So that was just nice. Like whatever she was talking about. And then she showed like a sneak peek of like one of her new patterns, and like, and you can, you can see her models behind you, and I'm stitching the Moon Phase Bell Pull, and she had that model behind her, so that was fun. Like, and yeah, so that was really fun. I did end up in a ghost room. So last summer we had like our little murder mystery at Midsummer Stitch. This summer I had a ghost room. So I was in a stitchy room with some friends, and it was funny. So I was in there, and I can't remember everybody that was in there, but Megan, who was Megan the White Iron Stitcher, and Kylene, who was CCL Stitches, they were both in there. And I was having so much fun, and they're two of my favorite stitchers. And I never get to see Megan on Zoom. I get to see Kylene on Zoom, but I never really get to see Megan on Zoom. And so I was just enjoying, like, chatting and stuff with everybody. And then there was a note that said they were going to reset the room, but we didn't clock what that meant. And my friend Rachel was in the room too, and then she left the room and she came back in, and she said when she came back in there was nobody in there. And she was like texting me like, are you still in the room? I'm like, yeah, I'm here. She's like, there's nobody in this room. So I guess when they reset the rooms, anybody that's in there stays in there, but nobody else can get into where you are. So we were fully in like a different dimension. We couldn't leave. If like my computer, the volume ended up needing to be reset, and I got booted out and I couldn't go back in. So I DM'd my friends. I was like, can you tell everyone I said goodbye? And she said, like she had already left too. And so there was like no way to go back and tell everybody like I'm leaving, or not that you have to do that, but sometimes it's nice. So, but when my computer refreshed, it refreshed it to the same room, but with the new group of people who were fully just having a normal conversation. And I very much felt like I had time traveled or something. So I called it the ghost room, and it's very eerie to be like in a fake space that like nobody else can get to and you can't come back to. It was very much like Portal to Another World situation. So that was fun. And then the new version of the same room was great, and I was loving talking to people that were in there too. And so there were some of my friends in there, so that was really fun. But it was crazy to be like, we were all in the same room, but we couldn't see each other. There's a lot of fun human drama and tea. I love gossip and drama and tea. If you ever have cross-stitch drama you want to tell me about, let me know. I will always be around to hear it. I got to see people who I absolutely love. I got to see some people that I was hoping to meet at StitchCon, but then ended up not being able to come to StitchCon this year, so it was fun to see them at Midsummer Stitch. I was in one room and we were talking about like birth trauma and C-sections, and all of a sudden like Stephanie from Lindy Stitches like pops in, and I was like joking like, are you coming in to shut this conversation down because we've now been talking about birth centers and C-sections for too long? Like she's like, no, I'm just checking all the rooms. But so that was fun. I mean, it was so fun. And last night at 11, I could have stayed longer, but I just forced myself to like be a grown up and get out and go do normal things. Okay. So that was Midsummer Stitch. It was wonderful. So I know I'll go to the Jingle Ball. There's one in September called like Harvest Moon or whatever. I don't know if my schedule's going to allow that because my son will be in kindergarten. I'm not fully sure what life as a parent of a kindergartner is going to look like on the weekends. So I will try to go. The like designer list looks amazing. I know Carrie from Tigerlily is going to do a project bag class. That sounds, I mean, like it looks cool, but I can't commit to it yet. Whereas like Jingle Ball, I know 100% I'm going to be there. So yeah, so it was just like a great weekend. It was weird. It was different than I expected, but I'm not going to deal with any giveaways today because I'm here. I didn't even like plan for that. So let's just say if you made it to the end of this video, first of all, if I saw you at Midsummer Stitch, please say hi in the comments. And if you are planning on going to Jingle Ball, let me know that in the comments too. And if you made it to the end of this video, leave a if you made it to the end of this video, leave a fish emoji in honor of my birthday star. And all those gray fish that you definitely couldn't see. And other than that, I will see you guys on Thursday for a extra. I have an idea of what I want to do, but I I'm in a weird phase, so I may end up doing some kind of organizational video just because that's where my heart is, but we'll see. But anyway, I will see you guys on Thursday. Members, I will also see you on Sunday, and we're going to do the 2 hours to make up for this weekend. All right, bye.